Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Pigskin Pirates. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get Colin, had some obligations tonight, so we're going to limit, just to two teams. This particular episode is going to be focused on Auburn. Sawyer being the Alabama fan, understanding Auburn, I'm going to have you take over and lead your thoughts on Auburn. Then I got my thoughts as well, and we'll kind of go from there. So, and of course, we got the schedule up on the screen. Auburn is, of course, rebuilding, new coach, new process. Kind of going through what Tennessee went through for quite a while. But yeah, I'll kind of head over to you, Sawyer, and let you kind of take over the reins.
Yeah, so looking at this schedule, I think you said it earlier before we even went on air. I see 5-7.
Yeah,
maybe even 4-8. Because we just don't know what this Auburn team is going to look like with Alex Golish in there. I mean, we maybe have an idea what the offense could look like, but again, we just don't know. New head coach, new scheme, new everything. It's a cultural change with Auburn this year. So, the first game of the season, it's a testy one for them.
Yeah.
So,
I had them losing this game right off the bat. But Baylor, I think they beat Baylor last year. I think they actually opened up with Baylor last year as well. And
yeah, they did. I think it was a shootout too, like it has been.
Yeah.
But I see them 0-1 to start the season off. Southern Miss, okay, that's their second home game of the season. Give me 1-1. Florida. Look, you can say the same thing with Florida, with Auburn too. New head coach, new scheme, new everything. You just don't know, but the lesser of two evils here is Florida, so I'm gonna choose Florida because of fandom here, obviously. And they play Vandy right after that. Vandy has surprising new freshman quarterback, 5-star.
Yeah.
Committed to him, which was great for them in their program. First off, Clark Lee he's done an outstanding job past 2 years with that program. And dude, no one thought that Vandy could do this at all. But here they are, and they've proven that they can actually stand in the SEC and do what they want
NIL,
to an extent.
NIL era and the media era has kind of helped Vanderbilt a little bit too, because they can kind of sell their academics now better than they did in their past. It used to be kind of a disadvantage. Now they sell it.
Mm-hmm.
Vanderbilt actually has the largest endowment of any of the SEC schools. They got money. From what I understand, they're actually spending money on sports, something they've not done in the past as well. So you've seen the results. Not even just football. They've been pretty good the last 5-6 years in baseball, or even longer, really. Tim Corbin's a really good coach there. Their basketball team is starting to turn it around quick. So yeah, they've had some pretty good athletics across the board, and you're spending money on it.
Yeah.
We'll get to Vanderbilt later. We're already talking about
right. Yeah, we'll get to Vandy later. But just give me Auburn for this one. Give me Auburn. Well, it's the last home game before that October stretch hits.
Yeah, we were talking about it before the video, and that October stretch, man.
Yeah. Man, it is rough for them. That whole month, it's just going to be a loss. There's just no way of putting it. Maybe they'll give a fight to Tennessee at Neyland, but
LSU, they have a shot with LSU at being at Auburn. I don't know. I'm not as high on LSU as others.
Yeah. Look, Jordan Ayer is there's a ghost living in that stadium for some reason. Always has been. But that whole month of October, it's just going to be straight 4 losses for this team alone. Honestly, don't see much. I think LSU, they're going to probably know who they are by this time in the season. LSU is. With Lane Kiffin. And I think Kiffin he's a proven coach. We've seen it, obviously. So give me the edge with LSU. I don't think I see any issues with that heading into that on October 24th. But yeah, that whole month is just going to be 0-4. Let's see, Arkansas. Home against Arkansas. I can see them winning that one.
Yeah, I think they'll beat Arkansas.
Yeah, I think they can beat Arkansas. Not much there, honestly. Look at the ticket as low as $64. That tells you all you need to know about that game. Like I said in our previous, videos, just look at the ticket prices. You got to know.
That Arkansas Missouri game.
Yeah.
We had a field day on that one.
Yeah, man, that was crazy.
$17.
Yeah. So now we're at Mississippi State. I mean, unless this is a night game, I don't think I see State doing much. But again, I do. It's going to be a low score affair, in my opinion, with this game. But I think I'm going to have to give the edge to Mississippi State.
Yeah, I talked about this quite a bit in the Mississippi State review. This is going to be an interesting. To me, it's actually going to be a fun game to watch. This one is one of the ones that kind of like under the radar that may be interesting to tune in because Jeff Levy and Alex Golesh both kind of run the same offense. They're both going to.
Yeah.
If you've seen Tennessee under Heupel, it's going to be like that. Specifically, they're more. Right. Heupel has adjusted his offense to a degree. It's changed since 2022. Alex Golesh and Jeff Levy are more the 21-22 Tennessee offense kind of play calling and mentality. I think this could be a very interesting game because both of them have systems that know each other very well. Might actually be a little high scoring. I went Miss State on it because I think they're more. Jeff Levy's been there longer and they got more experience. Yeah. But Auburn could win this one.
Yeah, either or, honestly. So the last two of the season, Samford, that's going to be a win. Obviously, that's going to be like senior day for them. More than likely. They travel to Tuscaloosa at the end of the season. Yeah, no, you ain't going to win that one. Sorry, buddy. So, yeah, I think that Bama is going to be better positioned this year. They obviously have more talent, and they have a more balanced way of doing things. I'm not going to say that, look, this is the Iron Bowl. Obviously, anything that happens in this Iron Bowl we have seen in the past. But with being Alex Golesh's first year head coach, he's going to Tuscaloosa, one of the toughest stadiums to play in. I just don't see them really putting up a big fight, in T-Town. Yeah. So give me another loss for that.
I think that one could look potentially like the South Florida-Alabama game where they scare Alabama and keep it low scoring, and Alabama pulls away in the fourth quarter and wins by maybe a couple scores. I kind of see it like that. I had the same record, Sawyer, but I had different teams that they beat and lost. But looking at it, they're a little more interesting, I think. I had them losing to Baylor, but if they beat Baylor, I think really the Baylor game, and I was talking about this with Minnesota and Mississippi State, and people are on this Georgia Tech and Tennessee. If they can win that non-conference game, I think that could jumpstart I think they can make a bowl game if they win that one. I think that's how pivotal that game is to me. I just think Baylor.
I can see that. Yeah.
I think Baylor right now is a little bit too. I had them actually beating Florida and Vanderbilt. Looking at it though, especially ironically, Florida and Vanderbilt actually could be games they lose too. But I have them winning. I think maybe I favor a home team too much, and I generally notice that. But I think it being at Auburn, I had them winning those two games, and of course Southern Miss.
Yeah, it is at Jordan-Hare again. Yeah. Jordan-Hare is a ghost town or ghost stadium for some reason. It's haunted. It's crazy.
But Florida Auburn's kind of interesting because they're both kind of rebuilding with first year coaches, and they both have talent. Auburn has, especially on defense, Auburn has some talent. Now that I think about that defense could give some of these other teams trouble. Looking at it, I think they'll play Tennessee close. I think Tennessee will end up winning, mostly because I think Heupel against his apprentice. Usually the master beats the apprentice, and it being in Knoxville, I just think Tennessee will end up winning that. I don't think they're beating Georgia. I think they'll scare Georgia. Kind of like they did last year. I don't think they'll beat them. LSU is really iffy. It depends on how well LSU starts out the season. Because I think I talked about this in the LSU review. I had Auburn as a tricky game for them. But that's if LSU loses to both Ole Miss and Texas A&M, and the fans turn on Kiffin. Kiffin is a good coach, you're right, but he has a very young team, a lot of new faces, not new players.
That's true.
Sometimes a recipe for disaster. Ole Miss is interesting. We'll do Ole Miss after this one. I could see Ole Miss crashing and burning. If that happens, Auburn might have a shot there. But I picked Ole Miss to win that one. Had them beating Arkansas. Had them losing to Mississippi State. But that's very much a game that they could win. Especially thinking about, I think Auburn's defense is better than Mississippi State's defense, and that could be the pivot moment that flips the game in Auburn's favor. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I had Mississippi State winning it. I think they have more. Jeff Lebby's been there longer. I think it'd be his second or third year, and I think that because it's his second year now. I think about it. So yeah, I think Mississippi State right now has a little bit more of a experience depth over Auburn, but Auburn might have a little bit more talent. So who knows how that one goes? They'll beat Samford, obviously. Shout out to where I went to grad school, law school. Then you got Alabama. They're not winning that one. If they beat Alabama, Alabama's like 6-6 or something. You guys are falling apart. Yeah, that's the only way they're beating Alabama.
Yeah,
but I don't
very
think,
true.
I don't think they're beating Alabama. I don't think Alabama's going to fall. I could be wrong. I don't think Alabama's going to be that bad. But
no.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think once again it'll look like the South Florida game with Alabama, where they'll scare you. They'll probably be beating you guys in the first quarter or second quarter, and then you guys will pull away in the fourth.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it really depends on how. I think Byram Brown is their starter quarterback for this year, so I don't know if he's a transfer or not. But it really all depends on how he, plays, just like any quarterback in this league.
How's the one thing I should have looked up is Auburn's running game? They have a pretty good running game right now because generally the Heupel system, they run the ball more than they pass. And Galaxy's probably running the same system.
I mean, from what I see, Stuart Andrews is the lead back from what I'm looking at right now at their depth chart, followed by Christian Burnett. I don't know much about those guys, but Auburn typically, they have a steady running game for some of their seasons. Yeah, you don't know. We just don't know, right?
There is a potential scenario they could, let's say, win the first four, upset somebody in October. I think LSU probably most likely beat Arkansas, Mississippi State, and Samford, and they're at 8-4, and they got a pretty good little season for Alcoas. They have enough talent to do that. It's not. I think it's more like the ceiling, 8 or 9 wins, and it depends on some other teams crashing and burning. But there is a scenario where they could actually have a good season. There's also a scenario where they win 4 games, as you allude to, or 5 or 4, 3, maybe even 3 at the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe they only beat Southern Miss, Samford, and Arkansas. Maybe that's the only 3 they win.
Yeah.
Southern Miss is an interesting program.
It's just not a lot to go off,
you don't remember
especially
this.
with the new head coach, new system, new everything.
You don't remember this, Sawyer. Southern Miss used to be pretty dang good back in the day. That's where Brett Favre came from. Back in the late 90s, early 2000s, they were a top 25 program most years, kind of like a Boise State or one of them is now. And they've really fallen off the map. And they played Alabama every season, and they actually beat you guys a few times. I don't know what the story, like, y'all had a rivalry with them or something, but go look at it. They played you guys like Alabama 10 or 11 years straight. I'm not sure why. What was the story behind that? And you would actually go to their place sometimes, too. I'm not sure if y'all had some kind of scheduling thing with them or something. I don't know.
Might have been. That sounds like the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Maybe late 90s is what I'm guessing.
They used to be a pretty good program. They kind of fell off the map. Well, I think this is all we can really say with Auburn. So thank you, everybody, for jumping in and listening. We'll see. Auburn has potential. I'm leaning more towards them not making a bowl game than making one, but this is a team that can make a bowl game. I mean, they got talent. There's no reason for Auburn to be as bad as they are, but they... Sadly, being a Tennessee fan, they kind of remind me a lot of where Tennessee was with the Pruitt, Dooley, Butch Jones era, where they've been through several coaches. They've really struggled. They've not. I think somebody said they've only had 2 winnings. I think it was Uncle Lou was doing a thing on Auburn, and they've only had 2 or 3 winning seasons in the last 10 years. He was showing their record year over year, year after year. It's pretty bad if you look at them. They really fell off when they got rid of Gus Malzahn. And even he was going 8-4 a lot and stuff. But once they got rid of Gus Malzahn, they just fell off the map.
Yeah, they did.
Well, thank you, everyone, and we'll be continue going through. We're down to now. I think it's 4 SEC teams, so we're getting close. We wanted to, like I said, we want to get all 16 done. I did some of them solo. Sawyer and I are going to do a couple. Auburn and now Ole Miss. We'll probably do. You'll see that one drop later on, and then I of course wanted to say Florida and Vandy for Colin, and thought about maybe South Carolina as well. So we'll that's who we got to finish out. So we're going to continue to work through this. Please like and subscribe. Continue to support us, and then kind of like I alluded to in the Kentucky video, there's also some talk of maybe I'd like to do the Big Ten and some other teams, other leagues. So we may try to do maybe some kind of Big Ten review before the season starts, whether I do it solo or with Sawyer and Colin or one or the other. So some kind of scenario like that. But yeah, feel free to like and subscribe, put comments. We'd love to get the support. Thank you, everyone.